Well, what a fantastic way to say good morning here from the African bush. Let's turn the game drive radio down. And I honestly can't think of a better way to say good morning. Welcome here to Kunyuma Game Reserve in the Sabi Sand, South Africa. It is a stunning morning. We're on a safari and we've started with the same leopard we had from last night. We're going to tell you lots more about what's going on here. Just to quickly give you a view of where we're sitting, the sun rose literally about as we were sitting here waiting for you to join us 2 minutes ago. So it's that beautiful magical time of the morning. It's nice and cool, not cold, just cool. And I'm looking forward to a fantastic day. We had such a brilliant drive yesterday afternoon, fantastic ellies, great leopard sighting. And only afterwards, when we spoke with Stefan and Scott, who tracked this guy and found him for us, that we found out there was actually a kill in the tree. We didn't even see it yesterday. The leopard was so beautiful, just taking his sort of relaxed time on the ground. So, big good morning. We're going to have a lovely day and look forward to sharing it with you. My name is Pieter Pretorius, and as always, we're going to be looking around in the bush. Brian, always nice to have you on camera, and Tara and Nikki back in control room, and the whole team. We're all down here. So, let's have a look. It doesn't really get better than that. For me, this is one of the ultimate things to see on safari, a leopard in any way or shape or form. But to have such a particularly beautiful leopard, I'll tell you why I like this guy so much a bit later. But to have such a stunning leopard up in a tree, yeah, this is like the postcard one sees. Obviously caught this young warthog yesterday sometime. Would have been during the day. It looks like he's eaten most of it, so it wasn't a very big warthog. But this should keep him at least for the morning, maybe for the rest of the day as well. Oh, they're beautiful. Hearing something now. It's not impossible that a hyena might pop up here at any minute. Maybe even another leopard. As soon as there's food in the bush, you know, that sort of sends out call it like a smelly advertising if you want. And I don't mean smelly in a negative way. For a hyena, another leopard, another lion, any predator, the smell of food is something they'll investigate normally. Which is also why these guys put it up in a tree. I mean, if you just look at where we're sitting here, we're sitting on a beautiful little, call it a small riverbed, or drainage line is actually what we refer to them around here. That's a big tree. It's called a weeping boerbean. Lovely big tree. Now that tree could be climbed by a lion, but not that easily. It's quite a big drop because the tree sort of hangs over the drainage line there. So it's a good spot for the leopard. Keep that food safe from other predators that might want to try and take it. So he knows he can sort of relax about his way and go about his things. Just have a look in there, that sort of in there, that's the drainage line. So it's good, another probably 8 or 10 feet further down. And that would have probably been what the warthog used for his cover as well. Whoa, 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 the thing dropped. Guys, you see, this happens in a second. He was busy eating, and the carcass fell out the tree, and I think the leopard, because he knows there could be a hyena or there could be lion or anything at any second, he was down that tree in a shake of a tail. But guys, he's going to climb up again, so now we're going to see this guy in motion. He should, though. I don't think he's going to stay down there. He's a bright cat. Oh, this leopard has got such a beautiful face. Also, they're at their most beautiful at this age, sort of 2-3 years old. Before they be mature, they're just very, very pretty almost, before they bulk up and get bigger. That's interesting that he's not going straight up the tree. I expect him to do so at any second, though. He's got enough experience to know that you want to avoid that food being stolen. In fact, during the last week since we've been here, he'd killed a nyala bull, a big antelope, not far from here, only about 100 yards up this same riverbed. And that was stolen from him by a hyena. So he's learned that lesson in the same area within the last week as well. So to give you a bit of idea of who we're looking at here. Many of you know this leopard already. Many of you, I'm very happy to know, saw it with us last night. We had such an awesome drive last night. And but if you don't, this guy's called Kunyuma. Beautiful Shangaan name for shy or elusive, which is sort of part of his character, but he's a very interesting cat. I find him quite entertaining. There's a great sense of personality about this guy, more so than, I mean, every leopard is individual, the same as every anything. But I find this cat particularly interesting. It's almost like he's got different takes on life, and like he plays a bit sometimes, and there's just something quite cool about him. But Kunyuma is about 2.5 years old, just under 2 years, about 5 months, almost 6 months actually, so I think 2.5 is correct to within a week or so. And him and his brother are around here. We saw his brother the other day, Q. Hopefully we might see him again today. He should be in the area. What's that? There's an alarm call. Far away, but there's an impala alarm call. Look at the leopard also looking in that direction. He wants to make sure if it's anything he should be concerned about. I think we'll let Scott and Stefan know when there's a chance. Down towards Gowrie Main. Sounds like about Twin Dams direction. There's some good alarm calls. It's one of the ways you follow up on finding predators, is you listen to the bush, you listen to the news out there, you listen to what's going on, who's saying what. Now, are the impala alarm calling? Impala don't alarm call for small things, they alarm call for leopard, lion. The kudu alarm calling, follow that up. Squirrels can help as well when you get into the thick bush. They're the sort of, as you get closer to what you're looking for, the squirrels and the birds will be your helpers. Further away, you're looking or listening for your bigger animals calling. All those things add into the information you have at hand. The storyline you can follow to stick or follow up on these animals during the day. So, he got a bit of an injury on his side of his mouth, or was it just dirty?
I think it's just dirty.
Just dirty, yeah. Good breakfast. Excuse me. See, because he's on the ground now, he's looking around quite a bit more, listening as well. He has to be very alert. There we go. Just making sure he doesn't get a surprise suddenly by a big predator. I think he's going to go up the tree shortly. I'm surprised he hasn't yet. Oh, beautiful light. Well, good morning, Lynn. Great question. Great observation as well. Just wondering why it is that we don't really see vultures that often when there are leopard kills, but with lions we normally or often see vultures. Lynn, it has to do with what we've actually been talking about. The fact that he's going to take this kill up in the tree. And we saw yesterday morning when we saw Shadow, that female with a cub. She had her kill sort of hidden under a bush. And leopards try and do that. They try and avoid detection by, well, anything really that can draw attention. So vultures would draw attention, and that would draw hyenas. Now for lions, that's not necessarily such a big concern because they are most of the time dominant over hyenas. But for leopard, they have to make sure that they don't get surprised by those guys. So they try and hide the kill either up a tree, under a bush, not only to prevent a hyena from taking it, especially up in a tree, but also trying to avoid, oh, there I can hear a hyena calling. Far away from the den, it sounds like, a kilometer or so. So the hiding of the food is to prevent anything really from finding it. that could draw attention. So the vulture sees it, that would then draw attention to another vulture, and there's a bunch of vultures, that would then draw attention to hyenas, lions possibly, and they try and prevent that as far as they can. Oh, we've got beautiful light. Look at that perfect side light. At the whiskers as well, guys, while he's grooming himself. He looks over our way again. Leopards have got very prominent whiskers. All cats do. One of the functions of those whiskers that people don't always realize is that when they've caught something, those whiskers are touching up against the throat of the animal they've hunted. Now, 99% of the time, they kill their prey by suffocation. And those whiskers can actually feel the heartbeat in the neck or in the veins, or the artery really, and know when the animal's heart has stopped beating. So that's one of the functions of that, of the whiskers. Also very, very good for when they're walking around at night. Those whiskers are spread out, and it is wider than the face, wider than the shoulders, and when they're stalking, they keep their body in almost like a missile shape. We saw it yesterday, when, no, day before yesterday, sorry, my days sort of blur into each other here. Day before yesterday with this guy's brother, Q, when he was hunting. They get themselves low down, and those whiskers can cover almost the whole area that they're going to move through, so it gives them a vibration or a physical touch sensation as to what they're going to move through. You must realize that everything on this animal has evolved, has adapted, has perfected itself to a point where a leopard must be one of the ultimate hunting, but also one of the ultimate survival animals. They're really good at surviving in all kinds of habitats, from desert to jungle, from places like this where they can live totally free without being concerned about being bothered by anything other than lions and hyenas, the normal stuff, but not by people, to places where they are heavily prosecuted, heavily looked for, heavily hunted, and they still manage to survive there as well. So they're great at not only adapting to all kinds of different habitats, but also great to adapting to all kinds of different conditions, if you want. In other words, species competition. And trust me, we all know this, no species provides greater competition to other species than our own. Just thinking back to that carcass falling out the tree, it's funny, that doesn't happen often because these guys know if that happens, the food's gone. But what amazed me is when we were showing it at the time where he's situated, what the area looks like with the habitat around him. And Brian's got a pretty quick hand. Back in the Old West, I think he'd be pretty handy with a 6-gun. And he whipped that camera around as quick as he could, and we got there as the leopard was down. It was less than, I'd say, probably half a second, but less than a second that the leopard followed that kill down. It's incredible how quick they are. I mean, it's something you've seen, I've seen, we will see again, hopefully at some stage, how they move, you know, when they're hunting or when they're getting away from something or when they're just playing. But they move in a way that it's almost like they make time stand still around them. And they sort of cut through it anywhere they want. I just love leopard. I mean, I'm sure you could pick that up. I'm sure many of you do as well. But they are just animals that, the more I see them, the more I know them, the more I experience them, the more they just absolutely captivate me. Got a game drive joining us from Voitela Lodge, Juma, Aubrey and his guest. Nice people. I've spoken to them a few times over the last few days. One of the other great things sitting at a sighting like this is seeing the other game drivers that come and join us. And you just see these beautiful big smiles on people's faces. I just love that. I wonder what he's going to do next. Stay down there or take the food up the tree? Still think the latter. Morning, morning.
Morning, how are you?
Oh, excellent. As I said, lots of happy people here. It's a young warthog. Well, the last bits of it. Yeah. Guys, we're just wondering what he's eating. Perhaps if you've only just joined us in the last few minutes, you maybe missed the beginning of Drive. This is our live sunrise safari. And we were very fortunate to open up on this beautiful leopard right from the beginning. Same leopard we had last night at the end of Drive, Kunyuma. He was eating a warthog up in the tree, but he dropped it and in the blink of an eye grabbed it again, but he's decided for now just to eat on the ground. I think it might also be actually because the food's almost finished. There's not that much left, so it might be that he's decided, well, if something takes this from me now, then so be it. Because you know, he's gotten most of the value from it, most of what he wants to eat. He's working on the skull, a little bit of the spinal column. Keep in mind it is early. We just heard hyenas calling from the den area. So it's not impossible that we're suddenly surprised here by hyenas coming in. Lions are always possible. Another leopard's always possible. But he has picked a perfect spot. What's he heard? Nothing major, maybe a little bird or a little small mouse finishing off the last bit of the night's activity, rustling in the undergrowth. Just something like that that sparked his attention. He's very alert. I mean, leopards, even if they're sleeping, any noise outside of the ordinary wakes them up. And one of the probably smallest noises that has the biggest effect is any rustling in the undergrowth. Now, anything that might be snapping a branch or crunching some leaves as it's walking. They always get their attention. I've got a beautiful setting, you know, that sun that rose only a few minutes back, already up in the sky and giving us the warm lights of what I think is going to be a beautiful hot day. And this leopard seems to be just relaxed and eating. We are going to see it more. I'm hoping that we can follow it up towards the water later to go for a drink. Treehouse Dam is not far away. So we're definitely going to have some more leopard moments this morning. But for now, HT is out there as well, also enjoying this beautiful morning start. And he's just going to say good morning to you. And who knows what he finds. Maybe he finds Q. This is my favorite leopard. His brother is HT's favorite leopard. So enjoy it on the vehicle with him, and we'll see you back here in a bit.
Good morning everyone, and welcome to another beautiful, beautiful day on Djuma and Arathusa Game Reserves here in the magnificent, world-famous Sabi Sands Game Reserve in South Africa. You're watching WildSafari Live. I know you've been with Pete and that magnificent leopard this morning already. I just wanted to say hi and then we'll cut back to Pete. But welcome again. If it's your first time, this is a great journey and a great adventure to come on with us. And if you're a regular participant and you're on the back of our vehicle all the time, hi and good morning to you always. I'm with Wium here this morning. Wium and I have worked together for a long time. It's our second drive this stint, so it's great to be working back with him again, as it is with all the guys. And Tara directing with Nikki this morning. Fantastic to be working with them again. We're just sitting here at at Buffelshoek Dam, just watching to see what's going to come down. It's quite beautiful around here. We just drove up. There's lots of different sort of talk on the radio this morning of leopards and hyena, and I just want to thank Sabira, our Zoomy, for giving us the heads up on some hyenas that's been spotted by on the camera this morning, which is fantastic. We're going to follow up on that. And I also want to just give you a bit of an update. Carol in California has asked about the schedule for this week and this weekend, particularly this weekend. On the 9th and the 10th, we're going to be broadcasting live on National Geographic Wild US. Okay, so if you're watching in the US, National Geographic Wild, but we'll still be broadcasting online both of those days, morning and night. There's also 2 fireside chats, consecutive fireside chats, Saturday and Sunday nights from 5:30 till 6. So the best thing to do, if it all sounds a bit confusing, is just go to the Nat Geo website and it'll all be on there, all the information you need. So thanks very much for that, Carol, and I hope you're watching with us, and I hope we see you this weekend as well. I'm just sitting here just for a little minute just to see if anything did come down. It's very quiet, but still very beautiful. And one of the beautiful things about sitting at a water point is you never know what's going to happen. There's mist coming through or just rising at the moment, burning off. This morning was very spectacular with mist filling every little valley, and we had such a beautiful drive down here. It's 15 degrees, 59 Fahrenheit, and a little bit chilly for us. We had the jackets and the scarves on this morning driving here, but you can just feel as the sun's touching your face, it warming up. The smells, we had beautiful, beautiful smells this morning coming through because of the moisture in the air. At any time that it goes past, any of the plants and the particular vegetation, you're getting these all different sweet smells coming through. It is just a spectacular morning, and we're going to carry on. We're going to go for a little bit of a drive and see what we can find. I'm listening to the Game Drive channel, of course. Really important that we keep in comms with that. Scott and Steph, the wonderful Scott and Steph, are out with their eyes as well, seeing if they can spot anything for us. And seeing, it's normally like what they can find, because they both of them together are a force to be reckoned with. We had some great questions yesterday. It was a really nice bit of fun yesterday afternoon for us. When we did leave you last night, we did get lost in this really lovely little spot. I'll just go through this dip and come out the other side, because we might lose a little bit of signal here. Elephant down here this morning, very fresh elephant dung just here. I did see just on the ground there next to us, very fresh, and there's lots of different tracks around it, but they could have been down here, even much before sunrise, and then move off into the vegetation. There's lots of elephant on the reserves at the moment, which is great. As you saw yesterday with Peter, that fantastic, unbelievable footage of that little calf who was being very, very tough. And I watched it last night. It was very funny, and I know everyone loved it to bits. He was just an absolute star, wasn't he? That little elephant. So that was great stuff. And I did talk about, there was a question yesterday about tracking, and it was a really great question about what were the, other than the obvious signs, the tracks on the road, how can we use the bush and tracks and signs. And And one thing I forgot to say, well, it's quite a big thing, but I did go on a bit anyway, was that I didn't mention about all the other signals from other animals. Bird calls, alarm calls from squirrels, alarm calls from antelope, all different noises of the bush, vervet monkeys and different, just different other animals that give you an indication that there's a predator around, if you're looking for predators, that is. So all this adds up to this sort of bush newspaper, and it really does give you a good picture of what's going on in the bush. What a cracking morning. I like to come up these roads in the morning just to see if there's any tracks crossing. I know Pete's on the other side of the reserve with Kunyuma, so we wanted to just come and see if there's anything coming across the road or walking along the road. We've done one, what we call a cut line, which is the border of the reserve. We're going to do another one just down the side here. So I think, folks, whilst we're just looking through this lovely, lovely little spot up here, Hippo Pools Road, we're going to cross back to Pete because I know he's still with that leopard, and I'll come back to you as soon as we find something. We'll keep our ears to the radio. We'll see you just now.
What a nice good morning with HT there. Always exciting, the morning drives, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. Well, it's like that the whole time on drive, but in the mornings it's especially so. Lots of things could have changed during the night. So I always love going out in the mornings. I know HT does as well. We're very lucky this morning that we could start with this beautiful leopard. He hasn't really moved much, eating a bit, looking around a bit. We just heard a hyena calling quite a bit closer, I would say at Treehouse Dam perhaps. 300 yards or so, a couple hundred yards away from here. So leopard listened to it, didn't pay too much attention. He knows he's got a big tree right behind him. It'll take him less than half a second to be up there, so he's not too concerned, but there are hyenas around, and as I said, whoa, and elephant. Exactly. That's a big noise coming there from elephant, and the branches you're hearing, that's coming from another vehicle. That's Ephraim, Cheetah Plains Lodge, coming to join us. Very lucky and very happy guest this morning on the other Game Drive vehicles. These guys only have 1 or 2 or 3 days, 4 days, depending on how long they stay, to see these kind of things. So don't have the opportunity to come on many drives like you do. So it's a real treat seeing one of the most magnificent of the animals that you can see in Africa, especially in such a beautiful way as we do have this morning. Morning, Ephraim. I think I'm going to Ephraim, get I'm going to make a little bit of space here for Ephraim. We've got another vehicle joining us, and we do work together, yes, so let's make a little bit of space for him so that they can see better, and also we can have a slightly different view. Come for? don't mind if I stop in front of you, do you? No, I'm just kidding. Well, guys, we're just busy re-maneuvering a bit. Alright, sorry, a bit of moving there, but just making a little space for Ephraim as well to join so that he can see nicely. Still sort of the same situation we were a couple of minutes ago. Leopard just casually feeding on the last of the warthog carcass. We've heard some elephants in the distance, we've heard a hyena, so we know there's some other big animals around. Lovely sounds here from the bird life around here. It's white-browed scrub robin doing its singing up the riverbed here. Honchi, mampimpane honchi. Oh, great question. Hello, Jeffrey. Actually, parts of Texas where you're from looks very similar to parts of Africa that I've been to as well. I haven't spent much time in Texas. I drove through there once years ago. But Jeffrey has just noticed the tail tip of that leopard just twitching a little bit. And just asking if, you know, what it's about. What is it showing, or what is it telling, or what is the message in it? And the tail tip of a leopard, trying to think, I can't really compare it to something in a human. I guess you could compare it to the fingertips of a human perhaps, but also some facial expressions. The tail tip can convey a lot of messages for us as observers, but even more so for leopard to other leopards. So a mother with cubs, for instance, that white tail tip very clearly visible so the cubs can easily follow it. From our side we can see when the leopard is excited or when it's curious about something. You see the tail tip a little bit, but when they get very excited, for instance when they're busy hunting, just before they pounce, that tail tip is almost, it's not twitching, it's almost vibrating, almost like the rattle of a rattlesnake. You know, it can almost be, you know, at a high frequency. Also, of course, a very practical aspect to the tail itself. Leopards have got rather heavy, quite muscular tails, so great for balance as a counterweight when they're busy climbing, so they can sort of correct their balance if need be with the tail. And then I've also watched them, often leopards use their tail in a very sensitive way as well. And this is when leopards bond with each other. In other words, mainly mother and cubs that you see it in, or siblings with each other. When they greet, those tails literally caress each other. They walk past each other and the tail curls around the body or around the neck, and it's beautiful to watch. I've often compared the tail of a leopard to the ostrich feathers back in the days, you know, when people wore big feathers in their hats and long swords. You know, the feathers were very elegant, I guess, and with leopard, it reminds me of that sometimes. But certainly a lot of expression and a lot of emotion almost, or the state of the leopard you can tell from the tail. One of the ways, which we don't see often from our side because they don't mind the vehicles, but if you get close to them on foot sometimes and they getting a bit agitated, that tail can sort of beat almost like a whip onto the ground as well. Same with lions, when they give you a mock charge or a charge, it's you do notice the tail during those conditions. You do notice the message there, I guess. Yes. Hey, I'm busy. Guys, there's a leopard. There's a leopard in front of us. There's a hyena coming from the right. The vehicle on the right hand side. They just spotted the hyena. Something's going to happen here. I expect that leopard to flash up that tree, so be ready. There, he's heard it. Yeah, he's going to grab it. Watch, watch, watch. This is going to be quick. Oh, and there's the hyena. Just like that. No stress though. The leopard didn't tense. He didn't worry. He knows what he can do. He had his plan. He's left something down there for the hyena as well. So now we've got two happy predators. Guys, and this is a spotted hyena. If you don't know all the different predators, you get a couple of different hyena species. We actually started with a question the other day and we never finished it. We'll do this a bit later today, how many hyena species we get. In fact, you might as well let us know now. How many hyena species do we get in Africa, and how many hyena species do we get potentially here at Kunyuma and Kruger National Park area? You can let us know by hashtag Safari Live if you want to tweet, or email it straight through to questions@wildearth.tv. The same avenues you use for asking questions or leaving comments or just saying good morning. Remember, we used to in the early days, we'd often have the morning starting, we just get mails coming through. Good morning, how are you? Look forward to the drive. So how many hyena species do we get in Africa, and how many hyena species can we see down here in the Lowveld? Well, this warthog will probably be used, almost all of it will be used. Maybe the skull will be left. Maggie, you're just asking, any parts of the leopard, any parts of the warthog the leopard won't eat. Oh, listen to that, this beautiful sound. You can see the hyena is really listening. The leopard's not really paying attention now. He's up in a tree. He knows that sound was a hyena. He knows not to worry about a hyena. They're not really good at climbing trees. But Maggie, just to finish your question, the leopard will leave certain of the bigger bones, sort of the big femur bones and the skull, the tusks obviously. No, this was a baby warthog, there are no tusks there yet. But if the kill drops out of the tree, hyenas will eat almost everything of that warthog. Being a young warthog, the skull even is not that thick and big yet, so in this case I think probably everything other than the teeth, the jawbone, and sort of the really hard parts of the skull will be left. Almost all the rest of it will be used by either the leopard or the hyena. There's another hyena call. Whoop. I don't think that hyena has left. I think he's just gone down into the drainage line to see if there's any other scraps that have fallen down from the tree. So just getting the little bits of breakfast he can. Here's the hyena coming back again. He's just done a little circuit around the tree. He knows, again from previous experience, that if a leopard is eating up in the tree, inevitably little bits and snippets of food will fall down. So he just did a quick check. Hyenas have got exceptional sense of smell, even compared to other wild animals or other predators. So he would have just walked around the tree and he would have quickly sniffed out anything that was worthwhile eating. And now he's going to use the greatest attribute of all hunters. He's going to be patient and wait for some more. Well, good morning to Ellen. Ellen is one of our good friends that have been coming on drives for a long time. And like so many of you, we all know each other. That sense of community is really great. So Ellen, nice to know you on drive with us, and great to be able to say good morning as well. It's not always we get the opportunity to do so. Just asking where we are for many of you, this is maybe one of your first drives. The big answer to that is we're in South Africa, southern end of Africa, in Kunyuma Game Reserve, which is part of the Greater Kruger National Park. But for those of you like Ellen that know the area intimately by now, to be specific, we are about, I'd say, 250, 300 yards downstream or downhill from Treehouse Dam, which is towards the east, next to a big bourbon tree right on the drainage line. So almost exactly due east of Treehouse Dam. The hyenas that we can hear calling, just listen quickly. Of course, they stop calling when you say that. But you'll hear them again just now. That whoo in the distance. Those hyenas are well, you never know. It's not impossible that there are more hyenas to join. Over the last few minutes after this hyena joined, obviously Kunyuma the leopard back up in the tree. The hyena's done his little sort of sweep circuit, just walking around seeing if there's any scraps to pick up. Sorry guys, let me take my jacket off. We've gone from a cool morning to it becoming warm very rapidly now. The sun is definitely on today. Well, it's not impossible for other hyenas to join, although the communication we're hearing is coming from the den side. And there's not really much food here anyway. There's a few snacks, you know, half a banana kind of thing. Not something that's going to fill up the hyena, but certainly something hyena will be able to utilize. Hey! That's what he was waiting for.
He took off.
You know, there's a lesson there. If Mr. Miyagi was on safari, he would say, you know, food comes to those that wait, kind of thing. Whether you're an antelope waiting for the rains, a leopard waiting for the pounce, or a hyena waiting for the food to fall in your lap. Just have to know when to wait and where to wait. That's great. There's a bit of a discussion going on Twitter. Hashtag Safari Live if you want to join it. As to the hyena question from earlier, how many hyena species we get in Africa and how many hyena species here at Kunyuma or sort of this part of the Kruger Park. And one answer was 3. Of which 2 are possibly found here. I mean, theoretically we should be able to find Aardwolf here as well. I can't see why not, but let's get back to that in a bit. I might be giving away a little something there. The hyena species we can find here, the spotted hyena, quite numerously and quite common. We see them often. Not common, but I mean occurring fairly frequently. And then we do see brown hyena here, but it's once every blue moon. We saw it once live on WildEarth years ago. I think that was the first time in over a decade. But guys, you get 4 species of hyena in Africa. I think Chris had that. I know many others had that as well. The 4th species doesn't actually have the name hyena attached to the name. So let's start with the clearest ones or the most obvious ones. We've got spotted hyena that we've been looking at. Where is he going? Especially this leopard, he could just be getting up to funny business. Maybe he's just going to try and, I don't know, jump on the hyena. Not really, but he's a bit of an odd cat sometimes. So spotted hyena, brown hyena that we have seen here, not far from here, actually close to Treehouse Dam. Striped hyena, which is more northern Africa. It's not really around here. Very similar to the brown hyena. Whoop, almost a leopard out of the tree there. It's very funny if you see a leopard fall out of the tree. They feel a little bit sort of embarrassed, I think. I've seen them look around hoping that no one saw it happen. Oh, I wonder if he's going to come down. It's not the greatest tree that for sleeping in. Oh, look at that, beautiful. Maybe he's trying to get that food back. And then just to finish, the fourth species of hyena there is the art wolf. So it's the spotted hyena, brown hyena, striped hyena, all very descriptive ones, brown, spotted and striped. And the fourth one, the hyena's still down there, the leopard's just checking him out. He's a bit like, hey man, I'm faster than you. The fourth one is the art wolf, which is also a hyena species, part of the same family, but not really a scavenger in any way. In fact, art wolf has got very, very specifically adapted or evolved teeth, and they eat termites. They're specialists at eating all other insects as well. They'll also eat other insects and ants and things, but termites is what they specialize on. You get them a lot in the Kalahari, sort of your savanna type environments, not quite as thick and as lush as here. Oh, he's snarling at the hyena. He's like, hey, this could be interesting, a bit of interspecies, let's call it awareness rather than rivalry. Amazing. It's always interesting when you see two different species interact, especially if they both predators, both have their strengths and weaknesses. We had a question from the vehicle just now, and the name has just slipped my mind. I'll get it again just now, but I'm just asking how high can a hyena jump? Well, that's rather specific body shape, big shoulders, lower back, which is adapted for long distance sort of trotting or like a sort of a loping run, as well as being able to carry heavy carcasses quite a distance. But that body design is not really great for jumping. In fact, they can't even jump as high as a dog of similar size. I've seen them jump a little bit, sort of more rearing onto the back legs, but jumping is not a big part of their sort of physical forte. I think the question was aimed at the point or the fact that, could he jump and grab the food from the tree? But they're not really good at that. They can sort of get as high as they can stand on their back legs, a little bit higher than that. Both grooming. The hyena doing a bit of grooming, leopard doing a bit of grooming. Morning, Marco. I think we might have a similar sort of sense of humor. I was going to refer to it as, bacon breakfast a bit earlier, and I thought it might be a bit, cheesy. Mark, I presume you agree with the pun in that, because we obviously have a similar take on things. But Mark was just asking, how far can they smell that? How far can predators smell the bacon, or in this case the warthog, the carcass from a hunt, especially referring to the hyenas? Hyenas have got an exceptional sense of smell, something I'm sure is still beyond what we can really comprehend. I can't even think of a good analogy of it. It would be like saying, and I can't compare it to something, but they have a sense of smell that is beyond of what we can imagine. It is, if we were to go back to the libraries of Alexandria a couple of hundred years ago, and we compare that to modern day Google and Wikipedia, maybe it's like that. Back in the day there was a library that you could go find a book in if you knew where to look and what you're looking for and understood the question. These days you punch it in and you get it. I think it's a bit like that. Now hyenas walk around and they just pluck little bits of information out of the air. But they could smell a carcass like this. I mean, obviously there's many things playing roles in the conditions in terms of the temperature, the wind direction. Is there a breeze? Is it gusty? Is it hot? Is it cold? All those things play a role. How fresh the carcass is. But our hyenas can smell carcasses kilometers away. We've got a couple of game drive vehicles moving. That's the sounds you're hearing. Making space for the other guys. Very nice of them letting us enjoy the sighting for so long. Cheers guys, enjoy, eh? See you another time. Bye bye. Cheers, Willem. There's a little bit of commotion here at the moment. We're going to move just now as well, just to try and see if we can see Kunyuma. He's gone into the deep dip there. But just while the vehicles are moving, Ephraim and Aubrey are moving out. I think we've got one other vehicle coming to join us. Maybe just a quick background again for those of you that don't know this reserve that well yet and how it works, but it's a private reserve, and therefore we can control the sightings nicely. 2 or 3 vehicles in a sighting only. So many benefits that comes with that. And the big benefit is the intimacy, the beautiful way we experience these animals. Speaking of animals, speaking of experiencing them, while this leopard has disappeared, there's something much bigger than this, just as interesting, and something I know you're going to have a good time with. So have a nice time with HT, and I'll see you back in a bit.
So folks, we've just pulled up here with a couple of bachelors, a couple of elephant bachelor boys, and they've got a little bit of, they're a bit cheeky, these two, and there's one directly down behind us in the drainage line as well. These two just gave me a little bit of attitude and told me to move out of the way, but I could just tell as I walked up, as I drove up, they were up for a bit of a discussion with me. They're just young. They're adult bulls, but they're just a little bit younger than the big sort of hulky bulls that you get around, these massive hulks that walk around. They're a little bit better and a bit quieter in temperament. So they're just being a little bit cheeky. They're absolutely fine though. He just came and gave us a little display. He might do it again, but we're on standby just to move out of the way for him. It's alright, my boy. It's okay, we're not here to hurt you, buddy. It's okay. Just giving a little bit of attitude. I'll just turn around the other side for you, Wium. And these males would be males that have been moved out of the herd, and they move out of the herd at about all different ages. It just depends on their teenage behaviour, their adolescent behaviour, really. That's what it really does boil down to, whether the cows can tolerate. I can't quite see if there's an elephant behind me there. There's a nice shot just there, mate. Just going to keep my eye on him. He's fine. He's just giving a little bit of he's having a bit more of a play, really, just pushing his weight around. But it really does depend on that adolescent behaviour, on whether the females will tolerate the boys anymore, and then they get pushed out. Excuse me, and then they end up joining a bachelor herd, and that bachelor herd can be, gosh, anything from 2 bulls to 35, 40 bulls. There's been recordings in East Africa of over 100. So, and they would be like all different ages. But you get those really big hulks, the big bulls that are, they're the ones that are a little bit more quiet, and they stay in sort of swamps and drainage lines for most of their time and just retire. They normally just go back to the female herds when the females are in estrus. So these boys are just having a nice browse this morning in this early morning sun. So 3 bulls. This boy here is probably the biggest one, and I'm just going to get around the other side here so you can see him a bit better. You'll see that beautiful, beautiful skin pattern. I don't want to make him feel like we're right behind him, but we are right behind him, but I don't want him to feel like we're boxing him in. He's completely comfortable, and that was just a little bit of teenage behaviour. Well, he's more than a teenager, that's for sure, but sort of young bull behaviour, throwing his weight around earlier. Just before we cut live, he did sort of have his ears out, sort of giving me a big display. But he's absolutely fine. Once they get used to you and you show them that you're not invading their space, you're absolutely fine to sit with these guys. None of them are in must, which is the sexual activity period where you'll see the secretion coming out of the gland behind the eye. And that's spelled M-U-S-T-H, must. And it's quite a strong, quite a pungent smell. It increases when the animal's in periods of sexual activity, and he's not in that period at the moment, so they're fine. They're absolutely fine. There's some lovely, just down below Wium, there's a lovely, I'll reverse back for you, but it just goes to show the dexterity of the trunk. There's a bull down in here reaching up really high. Just can't quite get there. I'm going to just come around. It's all right, my boy. It's okay, my boy. He's just through there. Can you see that, Wium? Alright. Just picking off the little bits, that exact pieces of vegetation that he wants. That dexterity is really obvious there. That beautiful trunk. Lovely sort of subsonic little rumble he just gave out then. It was in a frequency range that our ears could pick up then, so it wasn't quite subsonic, but there's a lovely sort of grumble that comes from their chest and their throat. It's a beautiful sound. So yeah, very old bulls, I always find just extraordinary to be around, because they're like weathered old ancient things that can live up to sort of 50, 60, 65 years of age sometimes in old places, but very rarely, very, very rarely. For sort of 40s is the normal sort of age they get to. And in the wild, of course, they're living their lives through their sets of molars, through their sets of teeth, and once they get to their last set of teeth, that's pretty much it. You'll start to find that the vegetation they eat is a much softer vegetation, because their teeth have worn down to a degree that they can't really go through the bark and the roughage that they used to in their earlier days. But he's a lovely, lovely boy. Thanks, fellas. Haven't seen a bachelor herd. We've had loads and loads of interactions with breeding herds, which is matriarch and related females. Quite nice. Just one last shot there. Sorry, I was going to move on, but I'll come back. I just want to go down to that trunk again so you can see. There's just a lovely bit of light. He might move on, but I might get down there a little bit closer. I think he's fine now, this guy. I'll come back a bit for you, Wium. So I'm just sort of repositioning ourselves. And it's like going through a little buffet for the elephants. They choose whatever species they feel like at the time. Some will be eating bark. Some will be eating. I don't know what that's like for you, mate. It's a little bit tricky in there. The foliage is quite thick. But just sometimes they'll just chew on the. They'll chew on the branch or the small shrub as it's standing. And what happens with this is the effect of elephant browsing. There's no animal really on the planet that changes the landscape, like other than humans and elephant really. They are real landscape changes, and you know, one of the things, the funny things, I always hear that term elephant damage. Well, it is damage when these animals are in areas that are much smaller than what the home ranges used to be because of habitat loss. But when habitat loss wasn't an issue, these animals would have moved through vast areas and changed the landscape over time, and over time that those little woodlands would have become savannas or open grasslands, which would bring in other animals and changes the habitat to suit the species that need it. It's okay, my boy. It's all right. So it's really important to remember that elephants play a massive role in habitat change, and other animals benefit from that. It's just when the concentration of elephants is so high in a very small area that we start to refer to it as damage. I've got a lovely question from Dylan. Hi Dylan. Dylan's in Cedar Falls, and Dylan, welcome aboard, mate. Great to have you. And you said it's storming, or it's thunderstorms or something at the moment in Cedar Falls. I love thunderstorms. I think thunderstorms are fantastic. A lot of animals don't like them, particularly our pets and things like that. But Dylan's question is whether elephants change their behaviour when it's a thunderstorm. Well, Dylan, I've seen elephants in all different types of weather conditions, and thunderstorms don't seem to worry. I mean, unless it's a lightning strike quite close to them, then I'm sure that's going to scare any creature. But I've seen them just standing, and it's magnificent memory I have of Amboseli National Park in Kenya, of a thunderstorm, lightning bolts hitting the ground, like that extraordinary sort of scene that you think's out of a film, with elephants in the foreground, big bulky elephants in the foreground, and a thunderstorm happening in the background with lightning bolts. Beautiful memory. Didn't change their behaviour. Lots of thunderclaps and noise, and they were just carried on feeding. But one of the things I do love watching is when elephants do love the rain. I've seen them get really silly and playful because some of the vegetation or the landscape that normally isn't slippery, once you get a lot of rain on it, a little embankment can become a huge amount of fun for elephants, and they'll roll around and slide down the embankment and fall over, and just sort of the sort of thing you saw yesterday with Pete and his elephants. So to answer your question, Dylan, in a nutshell, they don't really seem to change their behaviour unless obviously there's a lightning bolt quite close to them. I think they just carry on regardless. But really great question. I hope you're warm and you're dry, mate, there in Cedar Falls. Thanks very much, Dylan. Welcome aboard. Excuse me. Sniffling. Just turning the Game Drive channel back up a little bit, folks, so I can hear what's going on. I know Scott and Steph are out there, and it sounds like Pete's having a fantastic encounter with Kunyuma. We're just coming up now to Viatella Dam. We'll just have a little look there. There's a lot of elephant activity. Let's see what's around the next corner. Just listening to the Game Drive channel, folks. Sorry, I'm just going to have a quick listen while you have a look at the dam here. See, is it? Got a hippo in the middle here. Just while I listen to the radio, folks, please bear with me. So we've still got this lone hippo in here, folks. It's a bull. He doesn't seem to have any females coming through at the moment. I've seen a lot of hippo in here. And I'm just looking for a spoonbill that was here yesterday. I got a question from a lady yesterday, was it a spoonbill? I'm trying to find that for her again. And it was a spoonbill. But it's not here. So we'll move on, keeping on looking. So we just came along from those elephants, had a look at Vaiatella Dam. I wanted to try and find, there's a juvenile spoonbill there yesterday, and I just want to find it for the lady who was watching. I didn't pick up on it, and she wanted to know if it was, so I just want to try and find that again. So we'll come back each time and have a look at that. I just want you to see that, that area just there in front of me. That area I'll just get my head out of the way. Hang on, that's probably better for you, mate. So if you just have a look at that, it doesn't look like much, does it? But another track and another sign, really, or another sign of an animal's presence, and that is a hippo dung area where it will actually spray its tail and spread its dung. All that area right all around there is just all that area just there is hippo dung, just in that section there. It's a bit hard to differentiate. It's dry, and the animal would come out at night and put that dung down and mark his territory. But I'll show you some hippo dung up close and personal another day, when we do another little one of our dung quizzes. So remember, if you've got any questions, please send them out to us. You can tweet them to us at #SafariLive. You can email them to us at questions@wildearth.tv, and we're more than happy to answer them. We try and answer as many as we possibly can. But sometimes if we're in the middle of a sighting, we could get hundreds of questions, and we'll obviously try and spread them around the best we can. Let's go and travel along here. Let's see what we can see. I've got a question from Carol in Montana, and Carol's wanting to know, I mentioned that elephants, when they get older, they might try and want to eat softer vegetation because they're down to their last set of molars, their last set of teeth, as they go through their life. Their teeth move forward through their jaw. They get 6 sets of teeth. They lose those. Once they've lost the last set, it's basically off to the great savannah in the sky for them. And I've seen some incredible behaviour with elephants, particularly older elephants, well, I've seen a lot of elephants do it of all different ages. Softer vegetation, Carol, is going to be things like tender leaves, tender grass. They won't be going for things like bark and roots and things like that. They'll be going for the softest foliage they can possibly get their hands on, their trunk on. I have seen some elephants, particularly in more equatorial Africa, but I have also seen it down in South Africa when they're in a riverbed or they're in a very a little road that I think we should go down. And this road, Liam and I went down many, many moons ago. We had a beautiful elephant encounter down here, and over time it was a really old road and we found it, and then Scotty and Wium have frequent this road. It's a little road that joins us up with at Philemon's Cut Line, correct mate? Or Philemon's Dip, yeah. I haven't been down this for some time. And you know I like my little less trodden paths. It's a bit bumpy, folks, but always worth going down one of these little roads. You never know what you could bump into. So Carol, to answer your question, they would be eating the softer vegetation, the leaves and the grasses. Yeah, that's what I meant by softer vegetation. Make our way around here, and I just got to negotiate this. It's a little bumpy through here, so apologies for the bumps. Winland on Twitter. Hello Winland, lovely to have you aboard. And Winland's question, you're interested to know, Winland, other than tracks, dung and alarm calls or other animals, what else is there that trackers or trail guides or any of us for that matter would use? Well, there's something, Winland, that I can't put my finger on, and I don't think anyone. Science has mapped the brain to a point where they pretty much know where everything happens in your brain. One thing scientists haven't mapped is intuition. They don't know where intuition sits in the brain. They don't know where that instinct is in the brain. And I guarantee you that, if you ask Steph about that as well, that is the thing that he will tell you that you just can't put a handle on. A tracker's intuition, after they have done the simple tracking and then the systematic tracking and then they've gone on to the intuitive tracking, it's just something within you that will tell you that that animal has gone that direction, or that animal is in that bush over there, or that animal isn't here anymore or has moved that direction. There's something very special about it. It's like a magic. It really is. Thank you for your question. Okay, The old girl is just needing a little bit of time. We might cross over to Pete and see what he's up to, just whilst I give this vehicle a little rest, and we'll come back and see you just now.
Well guys, we're down here in the riverbed in the Milwaukee. You can see the nice sandy drive. We looked around for Kunyuma, but he'd gone into that deep drainage line, that deep donga, what we call it, that sort of deep ditch. And knowing him, just the other day, we tracked him a little bit into one of those. He's just found a little place where he's hidden from everything. He's probably going to take a nap, so we weren't going to find him this morning, I think, or not at the time. Gut feeling, maybe a little bit later in the morning, he might go drink at Treehouse Dam. HT will go have a look there. A little bit of something with Wendy there. You must realize that as with the broadcast, as with all the technical things to bring you all the way to Africa for the game drive, to enable that, also these vehicles, this one and Wendy that HT is in, they work very, very hard. I mean, they truly, you know, go where no other cars can go, kind of thing. So something there, I'm sure we'll get it sorted out. In the meantime, we're enjoying the riverbed. Lots of elephant tracks around. 3 or 4 places we've had. There's another place. Elephants have crossed the riverbed. And there's more tracks. We're just around the bend, just around the river bend. So my little daughter is 3.5, so I know Pocahontas very well. And we're just around the river bend from Twin Dams, where another group of monkeys were calling earlier. So the frequency of it has sort of disappeared a bit, so whatever it was might have gone, but we are going to go have a look. Might be that there's another leopard, might be something else, but we will know within the next minute or so. Getting nice and warm when we were sitting with that leopard. We were sitting in the sun. It was this sort of that early morning baking, if you want. Very lovely, but as soon as we started moving, we had to put jackets on again. It's still nice and fresh, especially down in the riverbed here, because obviously cooler air is denser, heavier, so you've got your cooler air lower down, warmer, higher up. Let's see, always have to be looking around everywhere, driving anywhere in the bush. I mean, anything could be anywhere, but especially, oh, for a second I thought I saw something, but I did. It was a game drive vehicle. I think they're going to check down the river. We're going to climb up onto the bank up here towards the waterhole. Let's see, hold on. Not seeing any tracks immediately, first glance. Here's the waterhole. Check everything, on the ground, under the trees, in the trees. Also no more monkey calls. They seem to have stopped calling. I think whatever was around here earlier either has moved along or might be further south. There's a place called the Boon Pan in the neighboring area, and I know that that's an area where the monkeys often hang around because there's some nice big trees there. But let's just stop here for a minute. It's always nice to stop at the waterhole. Oh, there's a nice monitor lizard enjoying that sunshine I was talking about earlier. A little bit far, but we should be able to see him all right. And also just listen. Always nice around the waterholes. Just to where is he now? Oh, there's 2 of them actually, but that's the better one.
Yeah.
There's another one there as well, but that's the better one. Look at that. You could say there's 2 just there. The reflection is so perfect. Nice full belly. This lizard has had a good meal recently. And this is a water monitor or a Nile monitor lizard. Pretty good size one, this. I mean, they get bigger than that, but this one would be about, I'd say a little bit over a meter, so 3, maybe even 3.5 foot nose to tail tip. Also just listen. It's always nice at the waterholes. A little bit far away, but I can hear some grey lories. Here's the other one. You can't see this one very well. Let me just make sure it is. This is a smaller one. Perfect place for them. Monitor lizards, the water monitor, are very, very good swimmers. And the rock monitor, the other species we get here, them you find normally more in rocky outcrops or hiding in trees, sort of the general bushveld. You can see, maybe we can get a little bit closer. I expect we might go into the water then. Let's have a look. Beautiful specimen. It's really good condition, healthy. As I said, full belly. I think that's maybe a... If we go closer, he's just lifted his head up a little bit, so he's aware of us getting closer now. So great. This one is quite dark. In fact, I'm wondering if it might not be shedding its skin somewhere in the next while. Sometimes you get the markings more prominent. If you look at the face, you've got the sort of yellow and light green, brown blotches. Very, very good for camouflage in the sort of vegetation that you get around and on the edges of waterholes and rivers. Obviously in the big river systems you get monsters of these guys, really big ones. A friend of mine once caught one of these. It was a Madikwe game reserve, and he caught it in the water, which is incredibly difficult, but he did it in quite a funny way. He essentially just let the thing bite and latch onto his hand, and they can really sort of latch on, and he pulled it out, you know, without holding onto it, purely by the monitor holding onto him. But the point of the story is that they measured it, not exactly, they didn't have a measuring tape, but Steve's about 183, he's 6 foot, and it was very close to the same length as his height. So these guys can get up to 5-6 feet, even close to 6 feet. This guy, as I said earlier, probably about 3.5 foot. Although it's deceptive sometimes looking at things and estimating their size, like an elephant. An elephant far away looks big, but not that big. When the elephant comes and stands to put his trunk on the bonnet, or as the hood, as many of you might call it, the front of the car, then suddenly you realize how big an elephant really is. One of the most beautiful African sounds you can hear. I'm sure you could hear that just now. That was an African fish eagle. We saw him here the other day at this dam, actually, flying around. Just calling there in the distance. Right, well, the monitor's going to enjoy the sun. I'm not going to go closer. He's, oops, sorry. He's enjoying the morning sun baking session. Quick look, I saw something in the bush there, which I think is a log, but what is that? Have a closer look. I'm not sure what it is. Alright, well, I think it's just nothing, but I'm just going to go past there anyway. Can't quite make out what it is that I saw there. Morning, Lulu. You are wondering, what do monitor lizards eat? They eat sort of, you know, you could almost say anything. They hunt to some extent, they scavenge to some extent. They'll eat little dead things, you know, small birds or insects or things that might have drowned in the water. Things they can catch in the water. Bird eggs, for instance, is one of the things they eat quite often. So birds that nest around. I mean, this dam is sort of a limited, you know, concentrated space where these two guys live in. But you know, also on big river systems and things, we've got lots of big reed beds. You know, they would find crocodile eggs, even other monitor lizards' eggs probably as well. Let's find my way here. and catch little things. I mean, it's not like they're going to hunt a bird, but you know, if the opportunity comes along, they'll catch it. If they come across a nest that doesn't have eggs in anymore but has the young chicks, they would eat those. So pretty much anything. They're very, I mean, they small dragons really. So you know, anything small dragons would have eaten, these guys would eat. Have a look. As I said, I think it was nothing, but there's just something about it that I thought let's rather make sure it's nothing. Where was it? Ah, one of our favorite characters in the bush. And this is a different species. You get a few different kinds of hornbill. This is a red-billed hornbill. As you may have guessed from the name, their bill is more red in color as opposed to the yellow-billed hornbill, which has got a more blue bill. Just checking if you're awake. The yellow-billed hornbill obviously has a yellow bill. And then you get the red bill and the grey-billed hornbills. That's the three kinds you see around here quite often. Right, well, he was doing a bit of grooming. Now he's going looking for some food. Let's go a little bit closer. We'll have a quick look at him. I do want to move on. A couple of places I want to explore this morning, but let's just have a look at these guys. They are fantastic to watch. Something almost comical about them, the way they move on the ground. Let's look at that. Tail up, wings down, checking dung pile to dung pile. This is buffalo dung, elephant dung, lots of animals using this waterhole at the moment, and the dung creates a great place for insects to find food in, find moisture in, lay their eggs in, and that's what the hornbill is checking for. He's just seeing what he could find, scratching through it. Breakfast time. Flies are out this morning. I see Brian is all
Fly-proof.
Fly-proof. Guys, so I have to show you this. This is morning drive. You know, morning drives are always a little bit more. We're all rested. We're having fun. Give me a second. We're going to answer questions just now, but there's another question just now. But Brian, just look at me here. Guys, this is what Brian looks like this morning.
Turn it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There we go. That's Brian.
oh yeah.
Alright, he does look a little bit like he's about to rob me, but that's his way of keeping the flies off, because you say, I can do this, but Brian can't. He's got his hands busy making sure we see everything. Alright, we're going to do a little bit of driving. We're going to head towards Aratuza, go explore some of the roads that I would have forgotten there by now. So, look around, see around, but we're going to take it nice and slow as well. No rush, we are on game drive. Might even swing past Trias Dam quickly just to check, just in case. Maybe Kunyuma has popped out there again. There's the track. Guys, we've left Twin Dams now. It's just off to our right. We came here looking for, well, some monkey calls. Not looking for them, we were listening to the monkey calls, but the monkeys had obviously seen something, and I hadn't seen any tracks along the way there, and I just spotted one. But I'm just going to try and see if I can show you. This is, sometimes you get a track and it's like, it's like the sort of, advertising page in a magazine. It's clear, you can see what it's about. But other times you just get little sort of snippets of it. There's one that's not bad. Let me just see if I can find another one. It looks like a male leopard. I would go as far as even guessing Kunyuma, not Kunyuma, Q perhaps. There's another one. I'm going to find you one that I can show you shortly. That's maybe not a bad one. Also some elephant tracks, some buffalo tracks, the usual suspects that you'd hope to see around waterholes. Guys, it's not a great track, but just to show you, it's always nice to, proofs in the pudding kind of thing. Brian, I think we can get that one. Let me just make sure. Where are we now? Oh, very close. Let me just turn slightly. No, it's there, I think. That one, yes. There. That one. Quick talk through it, but as I said, this is not a super clear one. So I'm right in the view. Let me just find, there we are. So that's the track, that little section there. It's walking in that direction. So you've got the pad at the back and the 1, 2, 3, 4 toes. And the pad, all cat tracks, remember they've got those 3 lobes at the back. So you've got 1, 2, let me use my pinky, that would be better. 1, 2, 3 lobes at the back. 1, 2, 3, 4 toes. Not the perfect track, but as far as tracking goes, the perfect track. It's fresh, we know where he's going. He came past here heading up the road towards the west. And now we or other vehicles, great tracking team, Scott and Stefan by the way, are very, very good. Not just at the effort they put in, but actually at the tracking skills. Between the two of them, they could track a... Well, there was a great expression, Luna Moore used to write it. What was it? I forgot exactly, but they could track a bird across a granite mountain, something like that. They can, if it moved there, they can find it. But we will keep this in mind for later on. Gut feeling that it's Q, young male leopard, brother to Kunyuma, the one we saw this morning. But who knows? Ah, lovely morning. The sun is nice and warm. Those monitor lizards we were looking at earlier, I'm sure they're still enjoying their morning, just baking and warming up for the day. I feel a bit like that myself, just getting ready for the day. It's been such a cool start again. We're going to have a quick swing past Treehouse Dam, just in case Kunyuma has come up there for a drink. And then we're going to head west, because west is best. Guys, I just love this. So just before I answer your question, Renee, I love great questions, and I just have to say thank you. It's been amazing, the quality of questions we're receiving from all of you, the insight you put into asking a question. It's one thing to ask, what does an elephant weigh? That's the example I always use for people. I say, we do these amazing live game drives, and people from around the world join us, and they can ask us, what does an elephant weigh? And I can explain it. And that's what I use in conversation when people ask me what we do here. But a question that actually has a bit of insight, or that links something, like Renee asking now, would a leopard, the track we just saw back there close to Twin Dams, eat a monitor lizard that we were looking at a few minutes ago? Definitely. I'm trying to remember. I've seen a few things eat monitor lizards, and somewhere in my memory, I'm imagining perhaps that I've seen a leopard eating. I'm not sure. Sometimes memory is a funny thing over the years. But certainly, your big eagles like eating them. Martial eagles are one of the ones sort of known to hunt them. But I can imagine a leopard would eat it if the opportunity was there, and if they could catch them. And a big monitor lizard like that's a few kilograms. That's probably close to the same amount of food as a small steenbok or half a young warthog. So it's actually a sizable meal if they could catch it. And monitor lizard, could it hurt the leopard? It could frighten it. They whip with their tails. I've been hit by that once or twice. You know all about it. But it's just a little sort of welt that's left afterwards. Not going to kill you. And they can bite. Again, my friend's example. Onto his hand, very difficult to get off. But as long as you clean it afterwards, nothing serious. The infections could be bad for us, but a leopard would cope with that very easily. So not impossible, and I'm sure even not that unlikely. Great question, Renee. maybe, yeah. I mean, it's the second bird that came to mind for me. I mean, obviously martial eagles. That's the one you see when you see pictures of a big, beautiful eagle eating a monitor lizard. It's almost always a martial eagle because they're big enough to catch, you know, big monitors, often rock monitors as well. So I'm gonna keep checking the tracks here. There's hyena tracks. And so what we're getting to, Debbie, is your question whether would fish eagles also eat monitors. Short answer, yes. It's something again that I haven't seen often, and I don't think it's a typical thing. And fish eagle are quite good at hunting fish, but I've also seen fish eagle eat birds, catching turtle doves and things like that around waterholes. And I'm sure if the right monitor lizard opportunity came up, especially maybe if it's not a big monster one, I can't see why fish eagles wouldn't catch them. It's a good meal. Yes, Anne-Marie, we refer to them often as water monitors, but they are also referred to as null monitors. Anne-Marie is just asking if they also refer to as null monitors. Same as the crocodile. Crocodile, if you get technical, you could call it null crocodile, but just refer to them as crocodiles generally. Again, many of these animals would have been found the first time up in the Nile, northern Africa, in the early days of exploration, in the early days of sort of gathering and collecting knowledge, which has become our knowledge base for the Western worlds down the line. So many animals actually have the word Nile as part of the descriptive name. So it should actually not be in a wild crocodile, it should be in a wild Nile crocodile. We're very close to. No, let's just stick our noses in there. Why not? We are very close to where Kunyuma was earlier. Feeling as that he's either lying down somewhere in the dip. Otherwise, we'll check the water hole as well, just to make sure. Nothing. What I can see for now. Go check the water hole, and then we're going to head west a bit. Coffee list on the morning still. Very good. Who's having coffee right now? Ooh, I guess for many of you, those of you joining us from South Africa, I know that we've had more and more people just locally. We've even had people from close by, Polokwane and Durban and the closer towns even in the Lowveld joining us on drive. So you guys might be having coffee. I know some of you are sitting at sort of 1, 2 o'clock in the morning hours now. Thanks so much for joining us still for the drive and enjoying it along with us. Our question was actually going to be, who's having coffee? Let's just see who's having what to drink at the moment. Let us know a little bit. I love good coffee. If you want to let us know, guys, maybe this is your first drive, you can let us know things, ask questions, make comments. This is Treehouse Dam, not too much going on. Just have a quick look around, a couple of birds. Just listen as well. Always good to just let your ears do a little bit of walking around. But if you want to say something to us or ask a question, more than welcome to. You can tweet at #SafariLive or send the questions or the comments through to questions@wildearth.tv. Always nice to have your name. I like to talk to people first name, and same as you guys like to speak to me first name. And it's always nice to know where you're from as well. My name's Pieter Pretorius, by the way, if you haven't met me. I'm from Namibia originally, but I've lived a large part of my life here in Djuma, about 8 years collectively, so I love coming back to this place. 8 years collectively, so I love coming back to this place. I have seen hundreds of amazing sightings at this waterhole, and you never know what's going to happen next, as we learned yesterday. So have a quick look down below the wall here. There's a little place that the leopards sometimes like to hang around. We can turn around and continue on. Just because we're not seeing a leopard doesn't mean it's not here. But I think he's sleeping somewhere in the drainage line. Careful look around. Nothing there that I can see. Right, well that's Treehouse Dam. Nothing going on. We're almost halfway through the drive, so I'm going to head west a little bit. There's a couple of places I want to explore, a few roads that I just want to catch up on. And who knows what we can find en route. Because you know, when it's live, you never know what's around the next corner. Let's have a look at this quickly, because I'm trying to jog my memory here, but I think we actually saw two warthogs here a day or two ago. This would be one of them. The other one would be, well, not with us anymore, because the other one is the one that we saw with Kunyuma this morning, or the remains of it. I think these were the same two. Brian, were you with me a day or two ago? We saw them at the waterhole, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. This one would be actually from the behavior as well, so we've got a bit of bush here between us. Let's see, quite alert, quite wary. And this is the other side of the coin. Very happy that the leopard's got food. But that's one less warthog around now. I'm just going to turn around a little bit. I just want to follow this warthog a little bit and see if it's going down to the waterhole. Very wary, but I don't think the warthog is wary because it's seeing something. I think it's wary because it's had that experience, obviously, the last 24 hours, yesterday afternoon sometime, that warthog was caught. So this would explain the nerves with this warthog. Also, up until a day ago, it looks like a female. Yes, she would have had company. No, she doesn't. A little bit sad. Guys, you know what, this is also, this is how it rolls, this is how it goes. Some warthogs make it through and they live to a ripe old age, and other ones sort of return back into the food chain a bit earlier and make sure the leopard can grow. But this warthog is doing a remarkable job. really great viewing here. Turn around one more time, maybe we can get another look at her. If not, we'll continue on. Got some good news for you very shortly as well. And the good news is, let me just try. No, that's the thing with the warthog. They're about this tall, and the grass and the shrub is about. Oh, there we go. She's popped out. It's also about the same height, but yeah, we've got a view. Perfect. This would almost certainly have been the. This would almost certainly have been the female or the mother of that youngster. Busy grazing again. I mean, life goes on as well. She will have new youngsters again next summer, perhaps raise all of them. Who knows? She's very healthy and good condition as well, so she will have other babies in her life. She's got a remarkable gift for walking in behind things from us. Quite good conditions for the herbivores. Herbivores are animals that eat plants, so everything from elephants to warthogs, antelopes, giraffe, and so forth. And that's the fact that even though the rains were very late, I mean, the guys down here were predicting one of the worst winters in a long time in terms of drought. But then the rains came quite late, so now you've got this sort of autumn flush of greenery. So great food for them. You can see around her there, nice fresh grass to graze on. Not just the leaves of the grass, but also all the roots would have now swollen with the moisture from the rain. So when this dries, or when the grass dries out, she'd be able to dig out the grass and get to the roots as well. They dig a lot of the times just using the top edge of that snout. As she gets closer to us, we might even see it, but the snout is very hard, like normal pigs as well. They can actually sort of dig and shuffle through the undergrowth and turn over little leaves and twigs and get into the sand and get insects and things as well. I mean, I referred to herbivores just now. Warthogs, to be technically correct, are actually omnivores, same as humans or monkeys, jackals, foxes. In other words, they eat almost anything. Insects and grubs and little worms and things as well. But mainly they eat grass and roots. They dig out a lot of roots with a snout, and if it's tough roots, they use those tusks, the top set, sort of the blunter, heavier working instruments they can use to dig with as well. Move slightly again. Story she could tell from yesterday. Look, you just see, sorry. Give me a second, let's just be patient. It looks like she might be heading down this way. Now we've got a big question to answer here, and I'd love to get a few answers, please guys. I would love to know, why did the warthog cross the road? And while you send us a few answers on that, I'm really looking to getting those because I could use them as gold down the line. I might use some of them years down the line, so please let me know what you think. On that same note, I know there were a few comments about coffee and tea. I do love tea as well, but in the morning when the sun is rising, I'm very happy with the coffee. And I'm also very happy to tell you that HT is back on the road. Wendy's sorted. He's moving along, so you're going to join him for a bit, and we're going to head west, and we will see you back in a bit again. That's out of shot.
So folks, we've just got our camera on some beautiful antelope here, kudu, which we've seen many times. They're very common, but it's just a matter of stopping when you can to see these magnificent antelopes. She's got a magical little calf with her. I'm trying to, one's gone off to the left and the other one's gone off to the right. We did, just to give you a bit of an update on a vehicle, we just went back to final control and Wium took off the fuel filter, we cleaned it out, we put some more fuel through it. We had to do a bit of bush mechanics on it. We didn't have an air gun, so we used the reverse of a vacuum cleaner, blew it out, put it back on, started perfectly, and we drove off. That was until now, when I just tried to start it again and it's not starting. So if we just be patient here a little bit, and it might get right itself. We get a situation when we get some dirt in the jerry cans, or the jerry cans get a little bit dirty. The fuel also that we get out here can have some impurities in it. It's a long haul by the time it gets to the bush, and you'll just pick up impurities every time it's put into tanks and things like that. So you're dealing with a little bit of dirty fuel. Your fuel filters on the vehicles do end up getting a little bit clogged up. So we could be here for some time, or we could have the luck. Maybe I'll just give the lucky porcupine quill a bit of a rub here. Let's see how we go. Even the porcupine quill didn't match that one. We've got no kudu in sight at the moment, but a magical experience to see these beautiful antelope. The males have a very big spiraled horn. There might be a male around, but it doesn't look like there is at the moment. The gestation period is a really interesting one for a kudu. It's 9 months, okay, so similar to that of a human. And again, the reason for that is these longer gestation periods is because these animals have to hit the ground running. They have to hit the ground running. They have to be prepared to be able to run as quickly as they possibly can. So we're just going to move up in a second. You get this. So I think the situation is probably best that Wium and I sort this out, rather than you sitting here with us not moving. I'll rub the lucky porcupine quill as much as we can. We'll get this happening for you. We should cross to Pete because he's over at Arathusa going across over to some roads that he hasn't been to for a while, and I'm sure he's up to something more interesting than this vehicle breaking down. So we'll see you just now. Ah! Yes!
Alright, you guys, welcome back this side. It seems Wendy might have 1 or 2 surprises up her sleeve for us still, but we'll sort it out. Nice kudu. And we are just covering some ground at the moment. This is one of the main roads, as you can see, just looking at it. One of the bigger roads called Gowrie Main. And we're heading west, and now we're going to go southwest down towards Arathusa Lodge. Beautiful area. I haven't actually driven there since we've been back this time around. Looking forward to seeing that waterhole, one of the nicest waterholes in the area. And we're also doing a test, so this is part of the, call it the rehearsal plan. We're going to see if we can sort of stretch our legs a bit further with some of the new gear that's gone up. So just to see if we can maybe go further than we could before. So if we are going to break up a little bit, as always, we know you are understanding, we know you are patient, but also know that we are testing something that can give us more, bring us more down the line on the drives. Otherwise, as always, it's nice to drive in the bush. Just sit back, relax, enjoy the view, let your thoughts wander. Or if you want to talk a little bit, we're going to have 1 or 2 questions that we're going to go through regarding hyenas and leopard from early. We had some great questions coming in. And as I said earlier, guys, if you're having your tea or your coffee, enjoy it with us. And I'm still waiting to hear and looking forward to hear some of those warthog crossing the road answers. I'm expecting one or two beauties coming out of it. Like that one already, Katrina, great one. I might even just tweak that a little bit with you, if you don't mind a bit of poetic license, Katrina. You've been on drive with us many times. Katrina saying the warthog crossed the road because the chicken was on safari or on holiday. I think that's an excellent explanation. People so easily get confused about, things like that. They could be thinking the warthog was crossing the road to go drink water, but obviously there's more to these things than one might think. Okay, it's not everywhere in the bush that you see things like this. This is the main sign for Arathusa Lodge. So if you were driving in here with a transfer company, or perhaps rent a car or something, you're on your way on your own holiday, you'll be able to find a lodge with a couple of signposts like that. And you know what, signposts in the end, they're just like the newspaper, they're just like the information we get from around us. They're just things that point to what is going on, what we might see, what we could have seen, building that picture of what's happening around us. So for instance, we could look at these tracks. Oh, I'm a bit close now, let me go back a bit. I want to actually sort of include two things into one there. So we're driving along, and we see a big sign that says Arathusa Lodge. That gives us an indication Arathusa Lodge is that way. Or we're driving along and we see these big sort of ball things lying in the road. And we see this, and we see the wet stuff here. Now we might be wondering, what is that? This is a lot of potential things. I used to always tell people we get these really big field mice around here. Might be from them, but I think perhaps not. This is obviously from a big animal. Just to give you a size perspective, my hand is still far. Actually, let me go show you how big it is. I'm just going to jump down there. I'll give you a quick talk through this. Alright, Brian, give me a shot if I need to hear something, please. Cool. Alrighty, so, not a field mouse, I think. Two things you can see here. Clearly this is wet, and this is very, very wet, very, very fresh. If we were in North America, I would say don't eat the yellow snow. This is very fresh. It's not warm anymore, but I would say a couple of hours, maybe an hour or two at the most. Very, very fresh. And this is from a variety of animals. Looking at the tracks here, a variety, I don't mean species, I mean sizes. Let's look at this. What do you think that's from? From an elephant walking that way. So that's the foot. Give you a size perspective. Walking, the foot is there, and it kicks the sand up as it walks away. So there's the toe mark, elephant walking that way. There's the size. Look at this one. Much smaller. So this shows us it was a little breeding herd that moved through here. Not one elephant, but by the tracks, looks like 1, 2, about 5, maybe 6 elephant that came past here. And that's really all that tracking is. It is just getting those bits of information around you, sounds, things you can see, and just, getting information from that, making deductions from it. Oh. So a couple of elephants, little breeding herd maybe, they would have come past here earlier today. Moving through this kind of habitat towards the left, you can see lots of nice marula trees, good grazing as well, good feeding area for them. Perfect habitat for elephants. Elephants eat almost anything, from the roots to the twigs, to the branches, to the leaves, grass. They'll dig things out, all kinds of foods that elephants can utilize. Alright. Let's continue. Nice big marula tree that. Again, with this late rains, the marulas have got more leaves on them than they normally would have this time of year. Terry's just a bit concerned there, I think maybe with me jumping off the vehicle. What would happen if a snake bit one of us out in the bush? Now firstly, Terry, just snakes don't really bite that easily. Oh, okay, thank you very much. Sorry, I misheard you there. Not bit one of us, but bit an elephant. No, it's something I'm sure that does occur occasionally, but it would have to be a small elephant. I mean, big elephants, simply just the dimensions. The snake wouldn't be able to get its teeth, you know, angle-wise onto the elephant. Never mind the fact then that the skin is too thick. So I think elephants really, I can't really see there being major concern for snakes and elephants. Maybe a tiny baby, you know, like one of the small ones we saw yesterday, if that got bitten on the trunk by a puff adder or something, maybe, but even then those elephants have got, you know, they've got some thick skins. So I don't really think that's something that they're concerned about in a major way. I'm sure it's happened on occasion, but I don't think it's something that's really a problem. Have a look at this antelope quickly, beautiful antelope. Sort of passing as we drove past. This is a waterbuck. Waterbuck is also the animal on the emblem for the Sabi Sands Game Reserve. This is not an old male and not a young male, sort of in between. I would say this guy is probably about 3 years, maybe going on 4 years old. Very good condition, not in the dominant or sort of, you know, the stage where they can start competing with other males yet. So I would expect him to be part of a bachelor group. More than likely another 2 or 3 bulls around this area. We just can't see them. And waterbuck are grazers. They eat mainly or predominantly grass, as you can see there. We're looking at him, he's looking at us, both enjoying the morning. Animals are very active early morning, late afternoon, and not just, I mean, we always go on about the leopards and lions. So guys, I'm just getting a bit of water here as well. But also for your herbivores, for your antelope and so on. It's a good time in the morning. It's not too hot yet. So a lot of the grazing and a lot of the activity happens in the first few hours of the morning. Similar to how it obviously happens in the last few hours of the afternoon. Oh, sometimes water is the best drink. People almost always notice the white mark on the backside of the waterbuck, and sort of white ring around the tail, the brake lights if you want to them. Good markings, but they've also got beautiful facial markings. Under the jawline, sort of into the throat, you've got another white mark, and also over the eyebrows. Like so many things in nature, like so many things in life, sometimes if you just stop and pay a little bit of extra attention, notice little details you might have missed in glancing, you appreciate how beautiful things are. And waterbuck are one of those antelope that the little markings on the face, the ridges on the horns, the proportions of how they're built, really beautiful antelope. But we've got a bit of exploration to do this morning. I'm going to let this waterbuck enjoy his breakfast. I'm going to continue on a bit. So this is, let's call it a short trip down memory lane, but driving this road, which is the main access road to Arathusa Lodge. I used to drive it back in the days when I guided here, only to go to the airstrip, and we're going to go up the airstrip quickly and have a look. You often find things there. I used to always think, yes, I wish I could drive into this bush a bit, you know, because there's a riverbed and there's some beautiful areas around here. I was like, it'll be so awesome to drive here. And then when we came back last year, and WildEarth had managed to get Arathusa as part of the traversing area, it was so exciting to drive a new road. I've always said, you know, HT was doing it yesterday afternoon, exploring a bit some of the roads we haven't driven for a while. But my favorite road in the whole world, actually let me tell you, my second favorite road in the whole world is the road between Cape Town and Windhoek. It's about 1,500 kilometers of just beautiful scenery, and I've driven it many times. That's my second favorite. But my favorite road in the whole world, in fact, you even have it. Alright, sorry guys, as I said, we are rehearsing as well, or testing at the moment, actually not rehearsing, testing the signal range, so I'm going to incorporate that a little bit into the conversation. But just coming up on the airstrip here, and we're going to take a drive down the airstrip as well. It's a nice high point, we've driven here many times before, we know it's good. I think they had some lions here yesterday morning, so let's just see if we find something, and then we'll continue on to Arathusa Lodge. But now I wanted to tell you about my favorite road in the whole world, and in fact there's one not far from where you are as well. My favorite road in the whole world is any road I've never driven before. There is a sensation or an experience that goes along for me with driving a road you've never been on, a new space that you've never traversed or entered before, that I just love. So when we heard that we can drive Arathusa as well, it was great excitement, and I was very happy to explore a new area. And this morning we're doing the same, almost in a technical way if you want, just to see how far or can we go further than before with the vehicles. And I'm an eternal optimist, as are all wildlife enthusiasts. I believe we will. So we're going to test that this morning. You're welcome to come along and experience it with us. It does mean later on, as I go into those corners we haven't explored much before, we might get a bit of breakup, we might get a bit of sort of flickering on the screen or sound breaking up, but bear with us. You know that it is in the greater interest of all of us. One day, hopefully, before I'm too grey, we're going to drive over the whole world, Pinky. We're going to try and take over the world. I would love to go and drive around and look for polar bears and grizzly bears and tigers. Lions, tigers and bears. I think it's Keats that said that. Up here, not too much. I can see some impala away in the distance. We're not going to go all the way to them because we do want to explore as well. Let's just go make a turn at the hide. They've got a beautiful hide here, and then we're going to head back down to the lodge. So we are quite far away from our camp, so not always getting the information through quite as clearly. Renee will try and get to your answer. You were asking something about waterbuck, but unfortunately I couldn't quite hear what it was. Maybe just try again. And I think we might as well go look at the impala since they are there and they're not far away. It's a beautiful setting. Can you make it up? Impalas. This is a little female herd, quite soon, actually starting now, but definitely going into the sort of towards the end of May and going into June. You're going to be looking at impala quite a lot because it's a very active time for them. We're going into what's referred to as the rutting season, which you get all kinds of antelope and deer around the world. There's a season when they mate, so that they can have a season when they have the young ones together. There's many benefits in having the young ones all sort of relatively at the same time. And those two males on the right there that we're busy going to, they're just squaring off a little bit. This is not a fight, this is more just a little arm wrestle, a little sort of just checking each other out, seeing, okay, we're both in good shape. Both of them are good shape, you know, good condition. Look at their shoulders and their necks are nice and strong developed, or fully developed, so they'd be about 4 going on 5 years old. Both of them have got a nice set of horns, so they would both be potentially dominant males and would at some stage during the course of the rut be dominant enough to mate with females. But that does mean they're going to have to square off against various males along that way. Just a little bit of a fight here and there. It's not always aggressive, it's not always a full confrontation. If one sees the other one is stronger quite soon in the test, then they leave it. There's no point to risk injury. But then, in the height of rutting season, when the competition's really on and 2 big males find each other, they can get into serious fights. I've seen a couple of impala fights that are as spectacular, to say the least, as any hunt or any mock charge from an elephant. It really is the raw power of wild nature when you experience these guys competing for the right to pass their genetics on. I think we could also try that question again just now, Renee. I think we're a little bit higher up, so my comms are better. Whoa, there was a good one. This might be a little bit more serious than I thought. Like the female impalas are coming to have a look there. You know, these are the potential suitors down the line. Look at that. Females are literally looking at them, spectators to the side.
Look at that.
That was a serious locking of horns. But no, they really are just watching. They're like, hey, there's something going on. I think the one on the right-hand side, just from the way they move, seems to be having the slight upper hand here. This is not a full fight yet, but that locking of horns there was pretty solid. I mean, you could actually hear the clunk. Sharp, sharp tips. I mean, the horn tips are as sharp as a pencil's tip. Could easily go through skin or through an eye. So it's not just sort of a joking around measuring of each other. This is serious. Let's watch this for a bit more. It's such a beautiful setting. Just while we're watching these guys, the waterbuck earlier compared to these guys, a little bit of differences between them. And Renee, I'm hoping to get your question again just now because I think we're in a slightly better position. But that waterbuck we looked at earlier is a grazer. So let's just compare size of animal to what they eat. Waterbuck is quite a large antelope, one of the bigger antelopes, 200 to 300 kilograms in that range, and they eat grass. Impalas are much smaller, 40-50 kilograms, beautiful runners. Look at that. Oh, wow. And they are mixed feeders. Impalas eat almost anything. That was lovely. They eat, well, let me just rephrase that. Sorry, I was looking at them at the same time. I don't mean they eat anything like ice cream, meat and chips. They will eat anything, meaning within the vegetation field. Impalas are what you call mixed feeders. So they will eat grass and leaves and little shrubs. Anything, depending on what's the best for the time of year. That was pretty. Beautiful setting for them to run across. These two males are just watching each other. I don't think they're really going to go into a fight. Let's just give them a second or two more. But this is more casual. The females have run off now. You know, there's less of a crowd to play up to. Hey, could be wrong though. But definitely more dominant, more confident behavior from the male on the right hand side. He's slightly bigger as well. I would just go as far as venturing that he's maybe even a year older than the other one. 5 as opposed to 4 years old if I had to guess it. Well, we're going to move along now. These males were sort of squaring off against each other a little bit, and they locked horns. Oh, well, every time I say that, they do that, you know. But I don't think there's going to be a serious fight here. They're just testing each other. They're sort of testing the waters. It's the beginning of the rut. So males are just sort of easing into it. Yeah, by the middle of the rutting season, 2-3 weeks from now, you're going to start seeing a lot of serious competing between the males. The females have run off. They've gone into, in fact, you can't even see them now. They've run off into the right-hand side, more over into the guarri bush. Okay. Well, guys, just to keep you up to date with this morning's plan. Obviously, as always, the plan is to go have a great wildlife experience, which we are doing and have had. It's been a beautiful morning once again. But we are also testing, so we're going to be exploring a little bit into areas that we couldn't necessarily drive before. And to update you from HT's side as well, he will say hello and goodbye in a little bit again, but Wendy seems to be needing a bit more work. We'll sort it out, we'll get the vehicle going again. But for now, you're going to be with me. So if we do break up a little bit, if there is a bit of static, we're going to do our best. Our radio comms is also being tested towards this end of the traversing area we use. But just to preempt it for you. I know you understand, I know you're on board with us seeing where we can go this morning. So let's go look around. Right, well, let's see what we can find, guys. Again, just to update you as well, I'm not hearing the radio so well all the time. Now, we've got different radios. The one radio we talk with the game drives, they inform of us what they find, and we can let them know, you know, leopard, lion, and tracks and everything, just to help build the puzzle. And then we're also talking to the control room, from which we get information as to, you know, what HT is up to, and what I'm up to, and what we're doing, and what the plan is. But at the moment, that's breaking up a little bit much, so I might be struggling to get questions for you. So if you are asking questions, we're not ignoring you, just that we're struggling with communication at the moment. Guys, beautiful view of such a beautiful bird, and I believe it might be one of the ones that have changed again. So if there's a more recent name than the ones I'm using, please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. But this is, I still think of them as crowned plovers. That's how I've always known them. Crowned plover or crowned plover, depending on the accent you prefer. Crowned lapwings. A while back I changed the plovers to lapwings. But a stunning bird. Beautiful markings, the legs, the beak, That black and white crown, where the name comes from. Great sounds as well, and amazing little birds. I've seen these birds, not these individual ones, but this species. Let me just move a little bit. I've seen them chase elephant away, literally chase elephant away. What these guys do is they nest underground, so they will do anything to protect, have the eggs. I've seen them chase elephant away, literally chase elephant away. What these guys do is they nest underground, so they will do anything to protect, have the eggs being exposed. And then also they fake injury. If there's a jackal here, for instance, now, or a leopard even, they'll pretend that their wing's broken and sort of run away like they're injured to try and see. And then also they fake injury. If there's a jackal here, for instance, now, or a leopard even, they'll pretend that their wing's broken and sort of run away like they're injured to try and see the name as well. In Afrikaans they call it kievit. A very sharp sound, almost like some of the calls they make. A kievit. Okay. Alright, so we're heading down towards the western end of the airstrip. I think for starters, let me just think which road. We'll go down below, upstream from the dam, and we'll go up to the open area at Aratuza Lodge, at the waterhole itself, beautiful area. And we'll go downstream from that. Let's go look around. Difficult to show you, just a nice snake track there. Looks like quite a big snake that crossed the road. Bit difficult to show you, just a nice snake track there. Looks like quite a big snake that crossed the road. That was the place. I think it's gone.
Thank you.
not getting them so clearly. So if we're missing some of your questions, please bear in mind that it's just with what we can do. Leanne, maybe later I'll be able to hear your questions. Couldn't make them out. But Gloria, hello Gloria, you're just asking, would a hyena coming back to really? I mean, they could. Bear in mind that it's just with what we can do. Leanne, maybe later I'll be able to hear your questions. Couldn't make them out. But Gloria, hello Gloria, you're just asking, would a hyena coming back to really? I mean, they could, but it's not something that's really in their nature. They look at of well, other predators and certainly of humans. It's not, but, typically speaking, you don't have to worry about hyenas on foot. Definitely not in daylight as well. Well, other predators and certainly of humans. It's not, but, typically speaking, you don't have to worry about hyenas on foot. Definitely not in daylight as well. Upstream of what's feeding the water tip to follow up on. Let's go around towards the water hole. Elephants! Good afternoon, sorry, good morning stations. Anyone Aratuza area copy? Cedric, you copy? Cedric, you copy? Morning. Sorry, I'm just managing to get hold of you now. You mind if we join you still? Awesome, guys. Look at this. Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. Just checking with the game drive vehicle. I didn't even see them here now. I was in a different channel. Beautiful elephant herd. Cedric, who's the guide there, just telling me that it's one herd that's just joined the other herd. So we've sort of joined two herds of elephants as they were joining together. This is a young bull. No, correct myself, sorry, I thought so, but it's a female actually. This is quite a large female, but curious about us. Sorry lady, am I standing in your way? Beautiful view for the guests in the back there, sitting far away. Youngsters coming up, look at this. This looks like the Three Musketeers walking past us here. Guys, and there's a tiny youngster as well, look at this. A little bit wary of us almost, getting protected by the adults. Just look at that one there. Just there, you can see it at the back. Tiny youngster. This would be, I would say, certainly younger than 2 months. This is its mother next to her. I would even go as far as saying probably closer to a month, 6 weeks. See, the female is still showing some of the signs of birth not so long ago. That's amazing. Yeah, I'd say 6 weeks would be a pretty close estimate. Climbing over the log. Way! A little bit of flame behind us here. It's difficult to see where to look. Ellies all around. Let me see if I can re-maneuver a bit. Going into the thick stuff there. And just like that, a whole herd of elephants except for the one on the road have disappeared. And you know what, these guys are heading towards the waterhole. It's getting warm now. In fact, I'm going to get my jacket off again. I think, let me just have a look at the time. We've got enough time left that we can hopefully see them down at the water. So let me get my jacket off. Got about half an hour left, and if they keep moving like this, they should be down there in the next 20 minutes or so. we're going to quickly move along. I want to go show you the waterhole, see if there's anything else there. Try and catch up with these ellies again. Closer to the time. I just want to make some space here for Cedric. He's one of the guys on Moto 2s that to come past. Very good. Very good. Cheers guys, enjoy your morning. Well, we've still got one ellie on the road there. Got good radio comms here again, which is great. Terry, I could hear your question. Welcome out of Ohio on the drive. Terry's just asking if I got it right, if I've ever been charged by an elephant. Yes, various ways and forms, in vehicles, on foot as well. There's a few things that focus your attention into the moment better than an elephant running at you on foot. It's up there with being live for me when it comes to, you know, awareness to your immediate environment. And one of the greatest charges, mock charges, I will remember literally for the rest of my life happened yesterday, Terry. And if I remember correctly, if you're from New York, I didn't get all of it now. You were on drive with us yesterday as well. We had an amazing experience, guys. And if you missed it yesterday, go have a look around. I might bring it up at some stage. It's one of my highlights. We had this amazing experience yesterday with a young elephant, tiny, a little bit bigger than this. I mean, this one was very, very small. The one from yesterday was a couple of months old, but with just playing with us and mock charging, up on his back legs in front of us, ran down the road, charged back at us. We just had an amazing elephant experience yesterday. So, really was something special. Most of the times, though, Terry, when an elephant does give you a mock charge, it's often play. Quite often, more often than a lot of people realize, it's actually just the elephant having a bit of an interactive play with you, seeing if they can give you a fright. They do the same thing to birds, they do the same thing to buffalo, to other elephants. Other times, obviously, it's because they may be uncomfortable with you, so I'm just trying to see where they're going. And they're trying to give you that message that, listen, you know, move away a little bit, give me some space. You must just make sure you follow what they're trying to tell you. Guys, they are in the thick stuff here, and they seem to have slowed down, but as I said, we've got two objectives. As always, to find great wildlife, but we do also want to do a quick test this morning. So I'm going to go to the waterhole and just go down into that area that we do want to test. Here's another ellie in there. Here's another size. That's the similar size to yesterday. It's not that very small one. This is about the same size as the one that was playing with us yesterday. Probably about 3 months, a bit older even, 4 months. Hey! A young bull. Yes, you intimidating massive animal. Quickly runs over to the adults. Oh, guys. That's just... I can't get tired of that. It's like seeing a leopard. Maybe elephant interacting, playing with us like that, testing us, testing his own bravery, you know, making sure, you know, testing his own courage as well. And just playing. You get the sense of this is an intelligent animal that's actually interacting with us. It's not just some random thoughtless behavior. There's definite thought and planning and feeling behind that, so I cannot ever get tired of that. We are going to come back to them, I think, before the end of the drive. We should have time. I'm going to try and time it to quickly go do the test area, and then to try and see them hopefully at the waterhole by the end. That's one of the many things I love about live, and I'm not going to go into a long discussion now, but so you know, don't worry. But many things I love about this. But one of them is also just trying to figure out what you can do. We are literally breaking new ground. We are going into frontier space, and I can't really hear what's going on the radio, but I'm getting enough that I think you're going to go to HT if I've got it right. It sounds like he's got the Wendy moving, or they've got the Wendy moving. So we'll go to HT shortly, and then we'll get you back here again to look at the waterhole.
Folks, we got the vehicle started. We did go and see some beautiful elephant at a water point just there at Treehouse Dam. I came by, Pete told me before, just said after you've done over the other side there, come back and just have a little double check to see if Kunyuma is sort of had any tracks going across the road or anything. We can't see anything. We think he's down in this drainage line here, so I just sort of wanted to do a little bit of a circuit around here. We had some beautiful elephant, and the vehicle wouldn't start, so it's always not a fantastic position to be in. Anything else I'm okay with, I think most people will be okay with, but when it comes to, we had it was a beautiful breeding herd, but they were fine, but it's just that your vehicle won't start. So it is a fuel problem that we're going to get sorted during lunchtime, and we'll be back on the road. So all good, no problem at all. Just wanted to make sure I gave you an update why we've been sort of driving and just driving. We don't want to stop the vehicle because we can't start it again. And you don't want to be putting yourself or the animals into a position where they feel like they are confronted by us. Normally what would happen is if an animal like an elephant gave you a signal to move out of the way, you would move. And if you don't move, you're basically telling that animal that you're not going to, you're standing your ground. We always are subordinate to elephants, and we will always make sure we excuse me, we keep like that. When you sit there in your vehicle and it won't start, yeah, always a little bit tricky. So even when I pull up, if we do see something here, there is an elephant herd that's just passing through here. It's the same one. I can see them just now there. Yeah, I can see them just now. They're passing through. I'm going to have to keep the vehicle running, folks. So that's the only reason why I'm doing it. Is I can't take the chance of turning off. Let's see if we can just see these guys. We got the vehicle going again, as I said. We just wanted to make sure everything was okay, and then we went out and it happened again. It is a dirty fuel filter. We're going to get another one. Will's going to go off and get another one for us, and we'll put that on during lunchtime. So if I sit up here in the bush with these elephant here that I've just found, and I've got the vehicle running, please understand that I've only got it running because I don't want to turn the vehicle off and not have some way to get out. Now this is, I'm pretty sure this is the herd that Peter was with yesterday. I recognise that female and her tusks. If you've just joined us, we have been messing around with the vehicle with a bit of a fuel problem. The fuel has been starved, so that's the reason why I'm sitting here with my engine running. It's not my preferred, definitely my preferred way of watching wildlife, but at this moment, on a safety level and making sure that we don't put the animals into a position where they have to compromise their time with us, I think it's a really nice thing just to keep it running and keep it going, and we can still talk. This herd, I'm pretty sure it's the one Pete was with, because that female's got a really unusual set of tusks. One's a little bit longer than the other, one's a bit skewed from the other, and I just want to see where the rest of them are. But this is where that cute little youngster was giving Pete a bit of attitude at about 2 years of age, or no, probably not. It wasn't even that old. I think he was only about 9 or 10 months. So these guys have just been down on the dam having a drink, and they've now moved into a bit of attitude at about 2 years of age, or no, probably not. It wasn't even that old. I think he was only about 9 or 10 months. So these guys have just been down on the dam having a drink, and they've now moved into the vegetation to just have a little bit more of a feed into the cooler parts. Move up. Got a lovely question from Lynn in Michigan. Just turning around, Lynn, and VM, I do apologise, I'm just going to reposition our vehicle. So I've got a downhill run. If this vehicle does cut out, I can potentially clutch start it, which will always be a bit of a help. And Lynn wants to know, sometimes she sees elephants crossing their back legs when they're feeding. And is this just a sign of comfort, or is there a reason for it? It's actually just a comfortable position that they put themselves into, Lynn. As far as I've read and I know, I've sort of observed, and they really do just put themselves into that sort of comfortable position, and sometimes they lean against trees even when they're feeding, but they do get that beautiful just sort of crossed back leg position on them. So that's a great question, Lynn, and thank you very much. So it just seems to be a comfort thing. Maybe just stretching their back legs a little bit as well. And you often will see them lying down when they're really comfortable as well, if the time is right. Lovely breeding herd. So Virginia on Twitter has asked if she'd, what's the ages of elephant reproduction, when do they have their first ones, etc, etc. I'm just keeping an eye on these ellies, guys, so please understand that it's okay, my girl, it's okay, it's alright, it's alright. There's a lot of young calves in here, so just keeping my eyes on them. So Virginia, if I do come back and forth, I'm just watching as I talk, and knowing that my vehicle is just also a little bit temperamental at the moment. So they first normally, well, their normal first conception age for a female is about 10 to 11 years of age, and most of you know that, and if you don't, this is probably going to become as a bit of a shock. Are you ready for this? I hope you're sitting down, but it's a 22-month gestation period, which is the longest of any mammal, and absolutely incredible gestation period. But these little guys come out fully developed, little miniature versions of their adult, their mums, and it is quite an incredible journey through that. So it's just under 2 years. Now they'll have calves between sort of every 4 to 9 years, so there'll be a calf sort of alongside them within the family unit before they drop, and that calf will probably be 6 years old before the next one comes along. and it really does depend on a lot of things. That's a generalization. It just depends on whether there's available foodstuffs, how big the herd size is, and many other things. We are absolutely surrounded by elephant at the moment, folks. It's a fantastic feeling. I just wish I could turn my vehicle off, and that's why if I turn my vehicle off, they'd probably be a little bit more relaxed, but I've got to keep it running. I always get a question also about twins, whether twins have been recorded. I think there is one recording of twins, but it's very rare in the wild and in captivity. So a great rarity, twins in elephants. Just beautiful creatures. Folks, I feel a little bit bad at the moment that I've got the engine running, and I just want to update you if you've just joined us again. I would normally, in this situation with a very beautiful, comfortable breeding herd here that are happy for us to be here, I would normally turn the vehicle off, that's for sure. But I've got a bit of a fuel issue with my vehicle at the moment. It's not starting immediately. If you put that equation into your heads, you probably understand why I've got it running. I'm completely comfortable with what I'm doing here. I just want to make sure that you understand why I've got the engine running. It's such a gentle time for this herd. They're browsing and feeding together, and this female right in front of us, you can get some great detail because she is very close to us at the moment. She's got a calf just behind there, but folks, that's the reason why I've got the vehicle engine running, and we're just going to stick with these guys. Got elephants all around us at the moment. I just want to describe it to you. I've got this beautiful cow here on the left browsing. I've got about another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 individuals over on my right. I've got elephants behind me, I've got elephants in front of me. The little babies are over just beyond this female that we're watching now. I'm just going to move down and just sort of get into a location where you might be able to see the youngsters. It's quite thick vegetation through here. Very calm. The temperature has risen, folks, dramatically. It's got to be up in the mid-30s at the moment, or early 30s degrees, that is, centigrade. Beautiful elephant herd we've just been sitting with for a while now, and I think it's really important that these animals, we get an understanding that these animals are completely fine with us, and it's really important to convey that to you, where we're sort of, I wouldn't say included as the herd, but they're so comfortable. They're just feeding right with us. There's absolutely no signature sort of or signs of behaviours of aggressive behaviour or unhappy behaviour to us for our presence. I am just going to ask you, Wium, to watch that female that I can't quite see. She looks so gentle, she's completely fine. I just had to move a little bit so I can keep my eye on her as well, but you need to have eyes in the back of your head. It's completely fine, and they are just beautiful to be around. Really, really nice. You see that ear flapping. I'm sure Peter's talked about that as well, just regulating their body temperature with those very, very vascular ears. At the back of their ears, they've got a great network of veins that cool air behind the ear in that shade flows past. A little bit like a dog panting, getting the cool air over his tongue. Oh, look over here, Wium. We have, be very, very careful, folks. There's something very dangerous behind us. Oh my goodness. Very, very dangerous. I think this could be Peter's little friend. Hello, little buddy. Get ready for this. This could be the most dangerous position I've been in all day. Look at this little guy, isn't he fantastic? I'm only joking, of course, folks. This little guy here is so beautiful. He's with his mum, and if his mum wasn't comfortable with us being here, she would have let us know long ago. As Wium passes that skin, you can see that beautiful wrinkled skin. And a lot of people say, oh, the elephant skin's really rough. It's very sensitive skin, hence why they mud bath to protect themselves from biting flies and keep themselves dust bathed down as well. If ever you have had a chance to get close to an elephant, you can really see those that beautiful textured skin there. And you know, I've had also questions before, folks, where people say, oh, isn't it interesting? I'm sorry, Wium, I just had to move down here, mate. I should have let you know. There's just a little, I'm just watching this female over here. Let's sit with her for a second. Hello, my girl. It's okay. It's okay. I don't want to go in your path, but if I can just go ahead of you, if that's all right, my girl. So I'll just let her pass, and then once she passes, I'll move forward a bit for you, my girl. There you go. They really do give you those signs and symbols of whether they want you. If you've given them enough distance, they'll stop. And then I moved forward about 5 feet. And she sort of said, "That's what I wanted," and she's just moved on. I'm just going to reverse so Wium's got an angle now. She's the only one that I was just watching. Uh-oh, another dangerous character. These little guys are so beautiful. Perfect replicas of their So I think we're just going to sit with these guys, folks, until close today. It's been fantastic. I'll just start to round up and recap what we've seen. Obviously, I haven't been with you very often today. We've had a couple of car problems and over the other side of the reserve. And Peter's had fantastic stuff today, and that's the whole mission of WildSafari Live. It's about getting this beautiful content, these beautiful pictures to you all around the world to be on the back of this vehicle with us wherever we are. And that's the beauty of having two vehicles. But I just wanted to always thank you, and you're the reason why we do it. You're the reason why we're here. The people that watch and support WildSafari Live, we couldn't do it without you. The questions have been fantastic today. I know Peter's going to come back on a high from his encounters this morning. We will try and pick up these elephants a little bit later as well. I'm going to just move over so we can see these little youngsters before we finish. They're just in the shade, but I'm sure Mama will allow me to do this. She's okay. And I'm just going to move into this little spot just here to see these little guys. Can you see that, Wium? Just over there, mate. There's a lovely little picture there. Okay. So folks, I'm going to say farewell to you and start to wind up. We've got a beautiful herd of elephants surrounding us right here on WildSafari Live, and it's just been a great morning. We look forward to having you again with us this afternoon as well. We'll be back at the regular time, and if there's any information you need to find out, head on to wildsafarilive.com and you can get up all the information you need. You can check out the WildEarth Facebook page as well. There's updates on that all the time. You have been feeding us absolutely fantastic information always throughout, with leopard sightings and identifications, so we really thank you. If I just point you over here, Wium, there's a little baby. Oh, he's just stopped. The little guy was just trying to suckle from his mother there. I do apologise, mate. She's walking off. Anyway, folks, they're just walking off into the distance there. We might let them be. We've got a few more on the other side of us, but the most important thing for us is to say thank you. The reason why my vehicle's running is because I don't want to turn it off. It might not start again. We can't wait to see you again, and this weekend, remember, 2 fireside chats consecutive Saturday and Sunday nights running behind each other. We'll do 5:30 till 6 both nights. If anyone's got any questions, there's a little baby lying down over here, Wium. I'm going to let you throw to him in a second. Thank you very much, folks, from Pieter and I, Wium and Bryan. We can't wait to see you this afternoon. Take care. We'll see you just now.